Abigail's being held captive.
Right.
They're in the cabin right now. What are her thoughts about Ben? I mean, she probably knows that he has got some mental issues, maybe. But does she still love him? Because you can't always turn that love off, even if something awful is happening. Do you think
No,
there's
of
still
course
love
not.
there?
Of course, yes, of course. I mean, first of all, I think that there's a sexual chemistry and a sexual, when you know someone that intimately and you're in a relationship with someone, you could tell yourself, like, no, they're wrong, this is whatever. But when it comes back down to, I mean, in my experience, when it comes back down to that sexual element, you wash everything away because you're like, oh, like when he kisses me, like I believe him, or we love each other, like in that way, like it's still the same. So then you just deny everything else. So that was the choice that I made for Abby. And there were definite moments, like especially when we were in the room and he told me about the tracking app, you know, there was a moment where I remember walking away from him. He begs me to forgive him. It was a great scene. Rob begs me to forgive him, and I walk away and take my phone and say, take it off my... And I remember feeling, when we were taping it, so overwhelmed by the fact that I felt trapped as the character, and I knew that I was just going to give it to him and he was going to, like, delete it. That should be the least of it. You know, he should have been saying, screw you, like, you made me do this, and I should have been saying the same, but instead we're both so dependent on each other because we're so screwed up individually that it was like, I think that was the start of it. Does that make any sense?
No, for sure.
You know?
For sure.
So I shouldn't have been surprised. You know, then he grabs my arm, so yeah, it all started coming together. But he was right. He was right. You know? So.
Well, I like that through all this, Ben still had time to go to the gym because when he first got inside, he's still making it to the gym.
Tell me
part.
about
No,
it.
you gotta blow that
Isn't
steam off somewhere.
obnoxious?
You gotta blow
Oh
that
my
steam off somewhere,
God.
right?
It's like a statue. It's
Ben,
ridiculous.
he, you know, he had a lot on his mind, so he spent a lot of time.
He's confessing with his shirt off.
I know. Trust me, we had a lot of discussion about that where I'd be like, but like, do I have to have my shirt off for this?
I tried to fight it, guys, but
I know, you did.
they thought there was something.
Gotta give 'em
Well,
what
you know
they
what?
want.
I gave
It's
it.
an interesting choice.
You know what? Well, I tried to combat it, but then after we really talked about it, there's something. I mean, you know, you chop it up a million ways, but there's something primal about being shirtless and like bearing your openness. And as soon as he said that, there's an animalistic quality, something primal. There was no question. I stopped questioning it. It made sense to me, and I liked it. From that point, I liked it because I felt it was just open. Everything was like being exposed, including my body.
It was.
The very last scene of the day, I waited there from 7 in the morning, and I ended up having my scene at like 7:30 at night with none other than the Queen, Christian Alfonso.
I thought he was gonna say me, and I was like, what?
No, my very first scene was with Christian being interrogated for the murder
Right.
of Nick Fallon.
Yes.
And then immediately I did a phone call, which ended up being many of those phone calls with Chriselle Strauss, who was my sister.
Yeah.
In the Faithful Park with the bench.
Oh,
That was my first ones, yeah.
My first scene, yes, of course. My first scene was with Missy. Jen had just had open heart surgery, and I flew home from college to come say, oh my God, Mom, because my dad was gone, and I flew home and I opened up the door and Dr. Dan is there who saved her. And I remember Gary was there at the time, and we were doing the scene, and I opened up the door, and then he had directed me to come over and give him a big hug. Thank you for saving my mom. So I saw my mom, and then I see Sean Christian, and I give him this big hug, and I'm like, thank you, and they don't say cut yet, so we're both just like, oh, like hugging each other, and then all of a sudden we finished, and Missy was like, okay, that was great, and then they were like, hold please, and we just kind of like waited for a while, and I was like, did I do something wrong? And Missy was like, no, they're just waiting, and I was like, okay, and so Sean and I are kind of like looking at each other, and then eventually Gary came over and was like, Kate, can you not have chemistry with your mother's boyfriend, please? And I was like, oh my God, you said hug him. They were like, maybe just don't like throw your, and I was like, right, yes, okay, got it. So then our hug was like and since then Sean and I were really good friends as people, and we have that it's not there, that element, but whenever we're on camera together, there's like a table between us, or we're really like, it's something like palpable in us. I don't know, it's weird.